Welcome to Words That Transform, Teachings of Christ. In a world where the dark side of human nature becomes more visible every day, this space seeks to be a light of reflection. Here, we do not reject technological advances or the legitimate pursuit of prosperity, but we do believe it is necessary to pause and ask ourselves, how far have I strayed from the teachings of Christ? How can I redirect my life toward love, forgiveness, and truth? This channel was created to accompany you in this self-examination, remembering that Jesus' message remains relevant and powerful to transform our lives today.
In a bustling city, surrounded by the noise of cars and people, lived a man named Gabriel. His life was a whirlpool of deadlines, meetings, and incessant tasks. It seemed like every moment of his day was occupied with some pressing obligation or another. Gabriel's world was confined to the four corners of his office and his small apartment, a sanctuary filled with the silence he craved after a long day. However, this routine created a shell around him, insulating him from the hum of life just outside his window. The people he passed on his way to work were simply part of the scenery, faceless in the grand backdrop of his life. But one night, Gabriel's ordered world was turned on its head by a dream unlike any he had ever experienced before. As he drifted into sleep, he found himself walking through his neighborhood, quiet and dimly lit by the pale glow of street lamps. The air felt unusually still. In the dream, a voice spoke, familiar yet otherworldly. "Gabriel," it said, "love your neighbor as yourself." The words pierced through him, leaving an echo that reverberated in his chest. Suddenly, the dream shifted, and he saw scenes of people he knew yet had never truly seen. There was the elderly woman who shuffled slowly past his building entrance every morning, her eyes searching the ground for lost coins. The young man at the corner cafe who always stood alone, his clothes worn and eyes weary. And the family that huddled tight at the bus stop, their conversation inaudible but their laughter warm. As he watched, a pang of guilt twisted in Gabriel's heart. These were not just figures passing by. They were lives, stories unfolding parallel to his own, and in his self-absorption, he had overlooked them. Upon waking, the edges of the dream were sharp and vivid in his mind. The words, "Love your neighbor as yourself," were as clear as the morning sun creeping through his curtains. Gabriel felt a profound shift within him, a tugging at his spirit, urging him to live differently. He understood then that the command to love his neighbor wasn't just a moral aphorism, but a way to live that promised transformation. The love he gave would reflect back, altering not just his own life, but the lives of those around him. With renewed purpose, Gabriel began his day anew, looking for opportunities to act upon this newly ignited calling. He greeted everyone with genuine smiles, held the door open for others, and offered his seat on the subway to those who needed it. These acts may have been small, but each one carried with it a wave of warmth that rippled outward, touching others in ways Gabriel hadn't anticipated. The joy of these simple connections built slowly, filling gaps in Gabriel's heart that he hadn't realized were there. It became clear that loving his neighbor was indeed a path to true peace and fulfillment. And so, through this journey, Gabriel discovered an abiding truth. The teachings of Jesus weren't just scriptures or sermons, but living guides to a deeper, richer existence. By embracing them, Gabriel not only found solace in his own life, but also began to weave threads of compassion and understanding through the fabric of his community. His story, begun as a single act of kindness, became an echoing melody of hope, aligned with the universal message of love.